Lines play havoc with red.
Hurricane Felix is whipping up waves and fears along the coast tonight. Felix is already taking a toll on tourism. He's wreaking havoc at some of the most popular vacation paradises. He brushed by Bermuda overnight. The road linking the airport to the mainland was washed out. A lot of businesses had to shut down because the power was knocked out.
And his next stop on land is expected to be the Carolina coast. Hundreds of families who have rented beach houses in Cape Hatteras and the Outer Banks, and thousands of people who live there all year round piled onto ferries back to the mainland. You can see it was sunny and calm there, but most people weren't taking any chances. Down the Jersey Shore, the surf is up, but it's closed to swimmers. It's just too dangerous. But it's a different story for surfers. They're in heaven. These are the kind of waves they've been waiting for all summer.
So where's Felix now, and what more can we expect? Nick's here with the first on Fox Felix forecast. Nick.
We've been watching Felix all day, Rosanna, and the storm has basically held its own. As you see on our latest satellite picture, still a very large hurricane, and that's the other point with Felix, as we know, because the rough surf has made it all the way to our shoreline already, even though, again, it's still hundreds of miles away. It's 330 miles or so to the southeast of Cape Hatteras. Winds are still at 80 miles an hour, and it's moving off to the west-northwest at about 12 to maybe 14 miles per hour. But again, the advisories have been up all along the eastern seaboard as the outer band of Felix gets closer and closer to the Carolina coastline. That's where the hurricane warning is, from about Chincoteague, Virginia, down to Little River Inlet in the North Carolina-South Carolina border. But look at this, a hurricane watch goes up to Cape Henlopen in the Delaware Bay area, and a tropical storm warning goes up to Manasquan, as there could be some strong winds coming there sometime tomorrow. I'll be back to tell you the full forecast on Felix as to where it's headed and its effect in the New York metropolitan area. And there could be one, too. I'll see with that a little bit later on. John, Rosanna?
Okay, Nick, we'll want to know that. Like Nick said, Felix is hundreds of miles from here, but he's already hitting too close to home for some folks in our area. Coming up a little later on the 10 o'clock news, how people who live along the shoreline are bracing for the fury of Felix from Jones Beach to the Jersey Shore. Dangerous for swimming. And here's why. That giant swirling blob of clouds over the Atlantic is heading toward land, and it's packing winds over 80 miles an hour. We've got our local beaches covered, starting with Eric Lasser on the Jersey Shore.
You have reached Belmar Lifeguard Headquarters. The water is closed for swimming today due to the effects of Hurricane Felix.
Most people obviously got the message before heading out to the Jersey Shore today. The beach here, like lots of places along the eastern seaboard, was closed to swimmers.
This summer, we have seen the worst and most dangerous water that we have ever had in the 15 years that I've been here on the beach.
The pounding surf taunted would-be bathers who could look but not touch.
It's tough, you can't go in, but it is gorgeous. It's beautiful. You don't see it like this too often.
We come here, it's like 45 minutes to come out here to go in the water because we love the beach so much, and we can't go in the water because riptides and the waves are 8 to 10 feet.
If nothing else, the effects of Felix are pretty impressive when you consider that the storm is still hundreds of miles away. For example, here in Monmouth Beach, New Jersey, about 1/3 of a beach renourishment project that took 4 or 5 months to put in place has been clawed away at by the storm just over the last 2 or 3 days.
Surf's up.
But the storm hasn't been a total bummer. For surfers, the 8 to 10-foot swells have been just that, swell. In a separate part of the beach, experienced boarders are allowed to hang 10, but admit it is rough.
Only experienced surfers should be out in the water, I believe. Swimmers, I don't even think you should touch the water.
Lifeguards agree Felix is not to be toyed with. A handful of deaths are already being blamed on dangerous riptides generated by the storm. In Belmar, New Jersey, Eric Lasser, Fox News.
I'm Mario Bosquez at Jones Beach, Long Island. It was a day for knitting together the last days of summer, worshiping the sun, and bad-mouthing Felix.
It's ruined. Well, at least we can do is run through the water.
I think it's horrible when it does come.
The advance teams for Hurricane Felix, 6 to 8 foot waves, dangerous undertow, left the beachgoers beached.
We had tremendous riptides yesterday, as you know. Jones Beach State Park and Robert Moses was closed.
So Felix is the only one in the water, and he plays rough.
We've had situations where people would have separated shoulders and things of that nature.
Just in case, emergency teams are drawing up plans of defense elsewhere on the island, an all-out fight. The village of West Hampton Dunes declared a state of emergency, throwing sand in the eye of the approaching hurricane. Tons of it. Its beach is weakened by decades of crippling storms.
We're very close to starting the final project here, which will be the replenishment of the beach. And the last thing anybody wants to see is a breach now.
These sand barriers were put in by the county and the village of West Hampton Dunes. Now they tell me that at last high tide, the water washed right over the barriers and straight into Mauritius Bay. Now, if not stopped in time, this could be another costly breach. So while some Long Islanders are kept high and dry by Felix, others decide to wade and wait.
Very powerful. It's just very powerful, and you can't compete against it. It's Mother Nature.
In Jones Beach, Long Island, Mario Bosques, Fox News.
So we're watching Felix. Gabrielle hit Mexico last week. The next big Atlantic storm will be named Umberto. No John or Rosanna this year. It'll be Jerry and Roxanne. John.
Effect for the Jersey Shore already. And to give you an idea of the hurricane's power, here's a look at some of the destruction the storm left behind in Bermuda. Trees blown apart into firewood. Cars torn into mangled pieces of metal. The hurricane's next stop, North Carolina, where everything seems calm so far, except the surf and perhaps some nerves. 200,000 residents have fled inland. Long lines of traffic stream from the evacuated shoreline. A state of emergency is in effect tonight in West Hampton Dunes on Long Island. The newly rebuilt area of Dune Road is slowly starting to disappear beneath water. Bulldozers were brought in to shore up the sand dunes. Al Roker's tracking the hurricane for us right now. Al?
Thanks a lot, Chuck. And as you can see on this picture, just what a wide storm this is. Not a powerful one at 80-mile-per-hour winds, but it may strengthen as it works its way closer. Warm waters, Gulf Stream waters right along the coast may give it some extra boost. Now, what we're looking at is the storm has actually started to slow up a little bit. Its forward motion dropping just a bit in west-northwesterly winds, 80 miles per hour. And right now it's 285 miles east-southeast of Cape Hatteras. The most likely place for landfall somewhere between Wilmington and Cape Hatteras, sometime around 1 or 2 Wednesday morning into early Thursday. But we look like we are in the low area, but we still have to keep an eye on this system. Tropical storm warnings are up for the entire New Jersey shoreline. Hurricane warnings for the Carolina coastline and parts of the Virginia coastline as well. To get an idea of what's going on down in New Jersey, we go to Ben Farnsworth, who's live in Atlantic City. Ben?
Al, the wind has started to pick up here, and so has the surf. What you're seeing are the tentacles of Hurricane Felix right there. But because this storm, as you say, is going to hit land well south of us, at least that's the way they figure now, Felix isn't keeping too many people away from the crap tables.
We'll still be gambling. As long as we're inside, it doesn't matter.
Gamblers and tourists seem more worried about their luck than the possibility of a brush with Hurricane Felix. Emergency management planners had scheduled an afternoon meeting with casino executives and others interested in hurricane planning, but it was canceled when the storm took a more westerly course. Still, there are those who know that storms can be very fickle and turn at any time. That's the way it seems to happen to the Newmans of Philadelphia.
Storms? We were down Hurricane Bob last time. We brought that one with.
Right.
Yep.
And then a while ago,
We got luck.
We're staying. We're not going anywhere. We're down for a week. We had to pick the week, and we're going to stay.
The surf has been surging here as it has all along the New Jersey shore, and the mean water will be with us for a while with possible heavy rain and coastal flooding. Still, most people can deal with that unless it gets really rough.
We won't wait it out if the hurricane hits us directly, but we will leave absolutely if they say it's inevitable to come here directly.
Yeah, because I've never been in one before. I've only been in tornadoes.
Oh, you're from the Midwest, then?
No, we're from Ohio.
Well, I'll tell you, whether you're from Ohio or where you're from, people are just still keeping an eye on this here in Atlantic City. There are no real major preparations, boarded windows or anything like that, just stuff taken up off the beach. And really, this man-made pile of sand is about the only thing that we've seen anybody do to kind of keep the water, which is on this side, away from the casinos, which are over here. Live in Atlantic City, I'm Ben Farnsworth. Back to you, Chuck.
All right, Ben, thank you. Our special coverage of Hurricane Felix continues throughout the night, and you can get the very latest on Felix's position, strength, and how it's affecting our weather by watching Today in New York.
This morning, the wind and the waves are building along North Carolina's Outer Banks. NBC's Robert Hager joins us again from Nags Head, North Carolina. Bob, what's it like there?
Well, good morning, Matt.